Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This video is for the creatives out there, the new creatives, the photographers, the cinematographers. So welcome, my name is Eric Rohr, and I've been a wedding photographer for the last 3.5 years. So let's get into it. If you're anything like me when I got started, you're probably entering into this world of creativity, the world of photography, the world of cinematography, and you're looking around and there's a lot to learn. There's lens choices, there's, camera body choices, lighting, what camera bag to buy. There's so much, editing. There's so much to learn, and there's, very different topics, and you're wondering, oh my God, how am I going to do it all? So allow me to share some ways that might fix that, help contain the chaos, if you will, help you guys stay focused and keep the right mindset on the right things. Allow me to share some lessons that I learned along the way. So the first mindset shift that I had when I started out, and when I started 3.5 years ago, was really more about finding inspiration, but specifically inspiration and not jealousy. And what I mean by that is, I think with the likes of social media and Instagram, TikTok, I think we can come across work that quote unquote inspires us, but at the same time is not really true inspiration that brings out the good side of inspiration, if that makes sense, but rather the side of jealousy. It's more like, oh my God, how can I create work like that? How can I do that? I'm never going to get there. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. Like, I don't even begin to understand, how he did that. And I think that concept is really rooted in the fact that we live in this world of social media and, always wanting the other person's thing. But at the end of the day, we really need to focus on things that inspire us, give us the ability and the desire to create, that give us the desire to create, and not leaving us feeling envious of the other person, like, oh my God, I wish I had that. And I think one of the most important and most vital ways you can do that is really by finding a person, or a piece of inspiration that's piece of inspiration in the sense of something like a photo book, right? You find something like, it's not just a person's image and you're like, whoa, how did they execute that technically? But what was their mindset behind it? How did they come about it? How did they create the idea? How did they shift their mindset and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go create this type of art? And it's when you go and find work like that that you can really feel inspired. And that's the key ingredient that you really need to be focusing on. Not, feeling jealous like, oh, how do I pull that off? But enter and be like, hey, how do I think like this person? How do I work like this person? And I think that's where you need to be keeping your focus and executing their work into your own inspiration, your own work. Learn and become inspired like that. Okay, so moving along, the next mindset shift that we have to have isn't sexy. It's actually quite the opposite of that. But remember that any creative pursuit is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And what I mean by that, it means enjoying the small wins and celebrating the small moments. You learned something new, you tried it out, it worked, celebrate that. It's not about going all the way in one shot, Remember, in the pursuit of becoming a full-time photographer, making photography a career, becoming a cinematographer, maybe you have dreams of working in Hollywood someday. These types of endeavors and these creative pursuits are fantastic. They're all, really worthy causes that you should be pursuing. But it's very important that you remember that when you're going out and pursuing these, creative endeavors, it's really important that you remember that it's a baby step type of game, and you have to take little tiny baby steps and incrementally work your way forward. It's not a sprint. You're not going to get there overnight. And when you can focus on those small wins and you can focus on, hey, I did this thing today, I created that, I finished this edit, then you're going to be able to keep trekking forward and keep moving forward and eventually get to your goals. Okay, so moving on to our third and final tip. Sorry, I had to take off my glasses. They were driving me crazy. But moving on to our third and final idea. So in the realm of creating and pursuing a creative endeavor, so becoming a full-time photographer, working in Hollywood, whatever it is, it's really important that you have this mindset of what I like to call the 1% mindset. And now what the 1% mindset is that as you're working through your projects, whether you're going on to your next photo shoot or you're in the middle of working on an edit, ask yourself, how can I make this project, this particular piece of work, how can I make it 1% better than I did last time? And I think that's really the key idea that we have to focus on. And again, looking at it from a big picture, no pun intended, when we're focusing on all the things we need to accomplish, we need to learn how to properly edit, we need to learn how to color grade, we need to learn how to light a scene, we need to learn, different file formats or whatever it is, we get very overwhelmed, and it is very overwhelming. In fact, it's a lot, and there's so much to cover, and that's also the whole concept, is that it's never ending. You're always learning more. in the realm of creativity, there is no end really. And it's really important that we focus on this 1% mindset of each time you're going to do something, you try to improve 1%. So even myself, as I'm working on a project and I'm, in between doing the actual task and I'm learning about how to do the task and I'm studying how to light a scene and I'm, trying to get better at storytelling or whatever the specific creative idea is that I'm trying to get better at, instead of trying to perfect everything and understand everything and excel at everything right away, by doing that, you're really going to end up driving yourself a little crazy. Like, it's impossible, and you really have to keep that in mind and really focus on one idea at a time and improve at 1% rate. Just 1% one day, 1% the next day, 1% the following day. In fact, as I learn new things and I learn new techniques, better storytelling, cinematography, I actually keep a list of the things that I learn on a Notion template. And I write down the things. I'm like, hey, next time you're going to add this concept. Next time you're going to add this thing. And I keep a list. And as I'm working through a project, and like right now I'm sitting in front of the camera recording, I'm actually checking the list. Like, okay, what am I making sure that I'm going to do this time to improve it from last time? As I go through it, I look at it and I'm like, okay, how can I add? How can I improve? Okay, so there you have it. 3 mindset shifts that I think it's important that you have when you're starting out. Let's recap real quick. So first, find inspiration, not jealousy. Number 2, make sure that you celebrate the small wins. And number 3, work on getting 1% better each time.